Coaches, it's time to stop over-complicating throwing mechanics.
Let's get back to the basics and teach our baseball players how to throw natural and athletically. Today, Coach Duke and I are going to show you how to teach your players how to throw the ball properly in an easy way. And we'll also teach you how to use kid-friendly language so you don't confuse or overcomplicate this process.
I'm Duke Baxter with Steve Nicorak and Dominate the Diamond. We've played this game and coached this game for decades and have dedicated our lives to educating and motivating youth athletes of all ages and ability levels. We want to help you take the field with confidence this season and help your players learn the basic skills required to play this game and have a ton of fun. To help you get started this season, we've put together a guide full of free resources to help you combat the 3 biggest obstacles new coaches face. You can grab it using the link in the video description.
Throwing a baseball just got easier. Watch us show you how. All right, coaches, let's talk about the grip. We're going to talk about the 4-seam grip, the ball that's going to travel the fastest and the straightest for our players. So you'll see on here, we've got a letter C on the seam. There's some backward C's, there's some forward C's. We want to teach our players to find the letter C and place their index finger and their middle finger directly across it. For the really young players, they can even use 3 fingers, but what this does is that when the ball's thrown, it rotates out of our hand and you'll see 1, 2, 3, 4 seams rotating. That ball's gonna travel fast and it's gonna travel straight so that when your players are learning how to throw or play catch with one another, they're gripping it properly and they're getting that good proper rotation. A good way to teach the 4-seam grip and to actually see that ball spinning and get the feedback is to take a baseball and draw a straight line right down the middle. So now when that ball spins, you'll be able to see a straight black line giving you the feedback that the players are throwing that ball correctly. If not, you'll see squiggly lines all over the place. If the player grips the ball like a 2-seam or his fingers are on the side, it's going to be cutting and curving on them. So we want to make sure we use the 4 seams and we see that black line giving us that visual feedback.
Coaches, do you have players that when they go to throw the baseball, everything's going everywhere and they look like this? Or like this? You know what you need to do? Is you need to make sure they line up their checkpoints. So the first things first, you want to make sure their feet are in a straight line to their target. You want to make sure your hips lined up to the target. You want to make sure that their back elbow and their gloves lined up to their target. And their arms back and ready to throw. Because now when I throw the baseball, everything's in line. So when I lift, everything is going to go in a straight line. So we want to make sure we're not doing this. We are doing this. You can create a line like I have here on the field. You can have them draw a line in the turf or in the dirt. You want to make sure your toes are in a straight line to your target. You want to make sure your hip, your elbow, your glove are in a straight line to your target. So when I break my hands, everything is staying straight. I'm stepping straight, my feet are straight, they start straight, and they finish straight. So make sure they're lining up all their checkpoints.
Coaches, do you have players that are struggling short arming the ball, or maybe they push it? What are some cues that you use to help your players finish their throw and throw through their target rather than aiming it or guiding it? Tell us in the comments below.
Now we're going to talk about the proper throwing technique. So many times you see players and their glove side gets out of whack when they throw. So whatever this does on my front side, a lot of times my throwing arm and the ball now drags behind. So we're going to use the connection ball. We're going to take the connection ball. We're going to tuck it under our bicep. So now when I go to throw, watch how it lines everything up. It controls my front side. When I'm getting ready to throw, I'm in position, it stays tucked, and it gives me the perfect throwing position. Another thing I can do is take the connection ball and put it back here under my other bicep. When it's under my other bicep, when I get ready to throw, it helps me now rotate so that it prevents me from short arming the baseball or pushing the baseball. So the connection ball can be used for the front side to make sure I'm staying on target, or it can be used for the back side to make sure that my arm extends, gets into a good throwing position, and allows me to throw the baseball. Aim small, miss small. What do I mean by that? What do I mean by that is this. If I were to take this baseball and just try to hit the target, and the Z's the target, I can throw it anywhere and I'm hitting the Z. But if I tell myself, okay, I'm gonna aim small, so I miss small. Now I'm gonna aim for the red line that's going through the Z. So when my eyes look at that, I'm no longer looking at the big picture. I'm now focusing on a much smaller picture. So now I'm locking into the red part of the Z. Now I'm going to try to throw it to where the black line and the red line mix, right into that tiny little corner over there. Now I'm missing it, and I'm only missing it by 2 inches. So there's such a difference between hit the Z, which can go anywhere, or hit the line on the Z. Aim small, miss small.
These are 2 terms that we like to use for our young players when teaching them how to throw. Number 1, draw circles. So I get here to my throwing position, and I'm just going to draw circles right here, which is then going to help me stay smooth when I go to make that throw to my target. Too often players get stiff. They reach right straight up in the air like this. They're not really sure what to do with their arm. So drawing circles keeps it nice and smooth, and then at the bottom of the circle, I draw it back, and I make my throw. Next up is the bow and arrow. For those players that get really long with their arm action, right? When you say something like, draw back that bow and arrow, they get here, and they draw back that ball into that good throwing position right here. So it's just from here, draw it straight back, and now they're ready to throw. It might shorten up the arm action for some of your infielders, and it might also correct those big, long, and loopy arm actions for those players that take too long to get rid of the ball.
Throwing a baseball is only one of the foundational skills in the game of baseball.
We also have to teach our players catching, hitting, and fielding ground balls. Check out the next video for more fun, engaging drills that we like to do with our players.
Go out and dominate the diamond today.